Hey YouTube, since this is my first YouTube video ever, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Jamie. I am an art therapy student, currently going for a master's in art therapy, and I'm doing an independent study on LGBT issues in counseling and art therapy. And part of that, I kind of came across the idea of the coming out story. I've been well aware of it, but it just sort of hit me that it really is a big thing in the community. Really, anyone that's not straight has to come out. Anyone that isn't heteronormative, if you're aware of that term, has to come out. Um, and I know for me, and I think a lot of people of my generation, before we come out, we watch YouTube videos about coming out stories. And having this huge wealth of knowledge and experience and encouragement it made a huge difference in my life. But I noticed that YouTube doesn't have a channel dedicated to coming out stories. If you search for them, you can find a million different amazing ones in a million different places. And that's great, but I decided maybe it would be cool to have a whole bunch in one place. So this is my attempt to start one, and I'm going to start with my coming out story. So if you go back to the beginning of my life, basically, I kind of always knew it was a little bit different. I never felt like I was like everyone else. When I was a really little kid, I just was different from other boys. I didn't play really with cars too much. Really wasn't into sports. Didn't watch sports. Didn't play sports. Wasn't good at sports. I tried, but I wasn't interested and I wasn't good. Um, so I was always a little bit sensitive about it. And I remember when I was really little, we were at a restaurant and um, I was kind of confused for being a little girl when a woman came up and I think she was our server and she said, "Wow, what a beautiful little girl you have." And um, she said it was just, when my parents said, "Oh, this is our son Jamie," um, she kind of explains it away as me having long eyelashes, and the moment was diffused, but it stuck with me, which is so weird that this is probably 20 years ago and it stuck with me. But I was a little bit sensitive about being feminine. So fast forward to my teenage years, and I think it was probably late middle school, high school. I had a couple of girlfriends, and then in college, I had a really serious girlfriend for a couple of years, and um, people questioned me about being gay, and I said no, and in my head, I really believed it. I don't know, I wasn't able to think about it yet. But after we broke up, there were things that eventually happened that were out of my control. It was went through a tough period of time, and I happened to have a best friend who was gay, and who was comforting me, and one thing led to another, and we kissed, and I liked it, and that's when I started self-reflecting, and I went back to things that I'd forgotten, like being in fifth grade and just continuously finding myself staring at my male teacher's ass, or just random things that, like, now I'm like, well, obviously, and other people probably knew before because everyone thought it was gay way younger. um, but so I started to open up to my friends, and I do happen to have a lot of friends that have come out, a lot of friends who have come out as gay or bi or queer. So I started coming out to them, and it was awesome. But I hadn't told any of my family. And it's not because I didn't trust them, didn't love them, didn't think that they would accept me, but I just wasn't there yet. And it's kind of, it's a scary thing to tell people. You can't really go back on it. And I think I was afraid that if I said it out loud, it was true and I couldn't go back. Um, so there was the one day I was packing to go back to college, and my sister, who I'm pretty close with, just asked me if there was something going on between my friend and I couldn't deny it. In my head, there was like a moment where I was just thinking, should I tell her? Should I lie? What should I do? And in that split moment, I just made the decision to be open and to tell her. And I'm really glad that I did, because I think it was a really important moment to tell my sister. And she was totally great about it, but of course that meant that the next step was telling my parents, and I wasn't ready yet. So a few months passed, I know, and I had another friend who I was seriously flirting with and was thinking about dating, and he came to visit in Philadelphia and stayed with my family and I. And after he left, I decided that I would tell my parents. So it was one day at dinner, and we were all eating, and I just said, "So you know my friend? Well, I think in a couple of days when I go back to school, he's going to be my boyfriend." And they were totally awesome about it. My parents were totally cool with it. They just kind of wanted to know more about him, and it was as great as you could hope. But I really had to pee, so we were talking, and it was probably only 2 minutes had passed, and I went to the bathroom. I excused myself. I said, like, I legitimately have to pee. So I went, and I came back, and I think the topic had moved on to menstruation or something bizarre. So we really, that was how it went. That was it. It was very brief, and we've talked about it more since. This was now a little over 2 years ago. But but that's how I came out to my parents. And since then, I've come out to my family members slowly, because I'm not at home, so it's kind of hard to come out to people that you aren't seeing. But it's been really great. I'm 24, about to turn 25, and I'm really just coming into myself, which is so weird. I thought I would be more settled than this at this age, when I was young, but it's not a bad thing. That's pretty much my coming out story. I was super lucky to be surrounded by amazing people who were supportive and accepting, and even still was nerve-wracking. But yeah, that was my coming out story. So I hope that if you're watching this, it was nice to see and helpful in some way. And hopefully this is the start of something. If it touched you, or you would like to share your coming out story, just comment below. And if you wouldn't mind making a video or setting up something to film, contact me. And yeah, I hope this is the start of many. Take care, guys. Bye.